Okay, hello everyone, my name is Paul. I've been an English teacher for quite a long time. I've decided to start making some revision guides for students and putting them on YouTube. So this is the very first one that I've ever done. But what I'm going to be doing today is looking at some key quotes from An Inspector Calls, which is a play that I love to teach and I try to make as interesting as possible for my students. So I'm going to look at each character from the play and look at 3 key quotes from each character and just talk you through them, why they're important quotes, why the characters say them, why Priestley might have got his characters to say them as well. Okay, so the next character I'm going to look at is Mr. Birling, the head of the family, the patriarch, the one that Mrs. Birling makes sure has control of the family right at the start of the play. I've got 3 quotes quite early on from the play when Priestley establishes the kind of character Mr. Birling is and how much control and power he has over the family. In the first quote, Mr. Birling is talking to Gerald. Gerald is about to get engaged, well, he is engaged to Sheila, he's about to get married to Sheila. And Mr. Birling makes very clear that he is the kind of son-in-law that he's always wanted. They might think that's great, he's got this perfect son-in-law, but what are his reasons for Gerald and Sheila getting married? Why does he want them to get married? The first reason that he gives is it's to do with business, it's to do with money. By Gerald and Sheila getting married, it means that Mr. Birling can unite his business with Croft and Sons, so basically putting the 2 businesses together. And he says, I'm just going to read the quote, he says, "I've been friendly rivals in business for some time now with your father." So it's about business, it's about money, it's quite a cynical approach to marriage, and the audience can very clearly make up their mind about the kind of character that Mr. Birling is. He's driven by money, he's driven by capital, and that's what he represents. Okay, so the second quote that I'm going to talk about, again from Act 1, is Mr. Birling talking to his son Eric, and he says to Eric, listen, you've got a lot to learn yet. So he treats his son like a child, just like Mrs. Birling treats Sheila like a child. They're seen as being young, naive and innocent at the start of the play. They don't really know anything about the real world. And he says to his son, I'm a hard-headed, practical man of business. So he uses those adjectives, hard-headed, to describe himself. He has a really clear sense of self-importance. He thinks he's the bee's knees, he's top dog, just like his wife does as well. And he says to his son, look, there's absolutely no chance of war. Eric previously said, what about war? Quite an astute comment. In 1912, when this play is set, that's 2 years before the First World War. The First World War, which lasted from 1914 to 1918, had a mammoth, a catastrophic impact on British society. Here we've got Mr. Birling, who thinks he's fantastic, thinks he's very smart and thinks he's very powerful, saying to Eric and to the audience, there's no chance of war. But the audience who were watching this after the Second World War know that what Mr. Birling is talking about is utter nonsense. There were 2 world wars since the play was set and took place. So there's that element of dramatic irony where the audience know more than some of the characters. There's that sense that Mr. Birling is quite foolish and quite stupid because he's so confident in what he says, and yet we know it is utter rubbish. And then lastly, again, this is from Act 1, Mr. Birling says about people talking about war, he says to them, fiddlesticks. He is arrogant, he is patronising, and he is very much condescending to those people. And yet, of course, as an audience watching, we know he is utterly wrong. So what Priestley's done is he encapsulates the arrogance of the upper classes in Edwardian society, and he gets across to the audience this certainty they have that war will not happen. And of course there's the very famous quote about Arthur Birling and the Titanic as well, which sunk very soon after he was talking about it. Because of that dramatic irony, Priestley's able to portray Birling as foolish and arrogant, and Priestley uses Birling as a symbol of capitalism, of capital, of greed within Edwardian society and the Edwardian upper classes. Okay, so I've been through every major character in the play. I haven't spoken about Edna. I know that lots of students love Edna, but she doesn't really say a lot, and she is an important character in many ways, but because she doesn't say anything, I can't really talk about her in terms of key quotes. But I hope you found the video useful. If you click on the links at the end of it, you'll go to my shop with lots of revision guides and resources for both students and for teachers. You can subscribe to my videos, which I'm hoping to make quite a few from now onwards. You can go to my Twitter feed, to my Facebook feed, there's all sorts of things at the end. Thank you for listening, I hope that was useful.